about with the fact that as we've kind of studied our marketplace here in the niche within funeral services, let's kind of touch a little bit on the fact of, pre-planning is generally pre-planning is planning for your demise, so to speak. Let's kind of talk about how certain funeral firms in town use certain insurance providers that really can't even get insurance, number one, for a lot of our clients in our community here on 1203 North Market Street. But number two, how if they can get an insurance product through some of the major captive companies, if you will, how it just really is somewhat cost prohibitive. Let's talk about a little bit about the insurance companies that we work with and how flexible they are.
Well, a lot of the partners that we partner with, they specialize in the African American community and the African American community's needs as far as, with the type of medical conditions that, such as high blood pressure and hypertension and obesity and so many other various different diseases that's covered in the African American community. So these guys take a conscious role in trying to provide those services for families in the African American community.
Sure. So basically, then what you're saying is, one, we're able to get you insured, and then two, we're able to get you into a certain face amount on your life insurance product that you can afford. Is that kind of the nutshell there?
That's kind of the nutshell. Getting you in a place where something that you can afford on a monthly basis,
right.
And not just with life insurance, but also with health and
Sure.
and those particular products that's offered also.
Yeah.
And so making that affordable, that every family can be covered and every loved one can be covered.
You're in the game.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like the Illinois lottery. You can't win if you don't play.
Yeah. I second that. With the pre-planning though, the fact of, through the years, the insurance companies have kind of gotten a bad reputation. And so would you say that there's kind of a thrust back in the middle to where they're trying to clean up their act and that's kind of helping us out a little bit?
Yeah, and you got more players in the game.
Mm-hmm.
More players in the game. People kind of going toward different investments and trying different things. In a tough economy, and so people are getting into the business, and so that's helpful to us, and we're able to, with their help, we're able to help families and put a smile on somebody's face that normally couldn't get covered, but thank you God that we're covering people, and they leave very, very happy to know that they have some type of financial stability somewhere for that last moment or that last time, or even just for the health to be able, because those health the going to the doctor costs, getting that medication costs. I mean, just every time an MRI, they're very expensive, and so just being able to cover that cost and being able to take care of yourself and just kind of try to stay as healthy as possible, it comes with a cost.
Sure. I'm not trying to be gloom and doom, but let's kind of talk about the reality of, not being able to go to the doctor and not being able to get that preventive maintenance that you need. Do you think that affects your actuary as far as your lifespan?
Well, one thing about it is that you should get your regular checkups. I spoke with Bishop earlier, and he said, get your regular checkups. We need you around here, Brother Sean. And so, getting your regular checkups and being comfortable with your doctor. And it's your doctor and your funeral director or funeral homeowner, and those are important people, and just having that relationship. Life is about relationships and having good relationships with people that you respect and you trust, and that have shown a great sense of character and honesty, so putting that trust within a professional, putting that in the professional's hands, and not trying to go through like a shade tree or a bootleg.
Go through the back door.
Yeah, go through the back door, cutting costs,
Sure.
and that end up, that always ends up to make you spend more money when you let somebody that's a non-professional take care of a professional's job.
Caution the internet expert, right?
Yeah. You could get all kinds of different things off the internet, but it's not like having that hands-on relationship with that person and something tangible, someone tangible you can touch, you know. And so and you don't know who's providing that information over the internet, but finding someone locally that maybe know your family, or that went to school with you, or really know your family and know you, and kind of know what you're looking for, and what you expect.
So you can put a name with the face.
Yes.
So that's us kind of looking at this business, coming into this business. We always knew, with your background as a cosmetologist and foremost owner of the Whip Hair Designs, we kind of knew that face value really meant something. Let's talk a little bit about how, through some of your community service and your radio program, Unity in the Community, let's just talk about how Williams has been so successful in such a relatively short time with this funeral business. Let's just talk a little bit about why you've been successful in the short term.
Well, Stace, I think one of the reasons I've been so successful in not just funeral home business, but barbershopping, is because I put the community first. First being a servant to the community, and trying to provide the necessary needs that the community desires. My barbershop is never just been a barbershop. It's always been a community center. I've always tried to provide haircuts for disenfranchised and people that just didn't have it, and maybe had an interview to do. And I'll still say, hey, come on in. I remember doing a haircut for a gentleman that was passing through town, and he needed a haircut. He just couldn't afford it. He was riding a bike, but he was on his way to another city riding a bike, and I gave him a haircut, and actually me and him prayed together, and then he went on his way. We've always had for the kids, we always had the good grade program where, if you had good grades, and we'll provide you with a free haircut just to get good grades. So, and we're still doing some of that. And then we did the BLT sessions with young men and throughout the community, embracing them with the older men in the community, and we kind of started that program. It was a mentorship, and we started out with 6 kids, and within 3 weeks we had 60 kids cramped inside that barbershop, and we found out a lot of things when we connected the younger men with the older men, and we found out that older men is scarred too, and they haven't healed through some of those things that younger men are going through, and we don't, in the African American community, we don't have a lot of money for therapists, so we kind of do some self therapy. Yeah, some self therapy.
And we won't get into that too much.
We kind of hold on to some of those things, and so we watched a video of T.D. Jakes, and he called it junk in your trunk. And so kind of just toting around a lot of junk in your trunk, and instead of letting that thing go, and that's one of the leading causes of heart attacks and things of that nature, is stress.
So basically, would you say that you took your caring spirit and sharing spirit from, say, the Whip Hair Designs into the funeral business? And if so, give us some examples of how you really dote on a family and really make a family feel the best they can feel, considering the nature of the situation.
Well, my heart goes out to every family. I'm not healed through some of the deaths that I had in my family, and so when I see loved ones going through, it takes me back, and so my heart just goes out to every family, and I wish I could just give it to them, and but we have a certain cost over here to run a business and things of that nature, and so but we do the best we can to try to make it affordable for families, and still provide just a miraculous service for them. That face does have a value. That name, that face goes together. And saying that, I know a lot of people in the community from a lot of community work, and I sit on various different boards and try to provide different resources for the community. And so it gives me a great opportunity to own these businesses and be able to just provide needs at a different level.
Sure. I totally hear you on that. Kind of like a higher level, like up the pyramid, so to speak. You're definitely moving up that pyramid. Let's talk a little bit about what we've been talking a lot about pre-planning, more specifically insurance, but let's talk about our banking relationships and how we've even gone to the extent of building trust relations with families, and also more specifically with the Bank of Champaign as we've set up our trust department. Let's talk a little bit about that and how if you don't necessarily want to buy an insurance product, you can essentially save up your last expense costs in our trust fund. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, we designed a trust for families that just want to kind of pay on it little by little.
Sure.
Maybe even some families might drop a lump sum down,
Sure.
and just have that money put away for that particular time. So it's like the penny in the jar theory that you talked about. Is putting a little bit away for that particular time. When that time comes, family can just access that money and cover the cost of funeral services.
Sure.
And it's a great way to of a savings.
Sure.
It's a great way to have a savings for a specific a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And so that trust is there. And we have a lot of families that have came to our funeral home and joined in on that trust.
Yeah. And then also, kind of covering the whole ball, even if you do have insurance, let's talk a little bit about the way we can even do maybe a collateral transfer or an assignment of a policy, even if you are in a current insurance policy and you don't want to get out of that because you're not sure if you can even replace that insurance. Let's talk about a little bit about how we can still help you with the pre-planning process, even if we don't sell you insurance. Can you address that?
Well, if well, a lot of families have their own insurance. Sure. And they come to us and they have their own insurance, and we work with them. We partner with our partners that partner with them, and we make things happen. And that process takes about 24 hours, and then we'll have the information right back whether that policy is good or not.
Right.
And so that works relatively quick. It's not a problem if you have it. I think it's great if you have insurance and when you come to see us.
Yeah. Let's talk about a potential problem, even if you have insurance and your beneficiaries kind of have it in their mind to maybe take a $20,000, $25,000 insurance policy, maybe tell the funeral firm to do a cremation with no services, no obituary with write-up, just basically no frills, and that wasn't your intent. Let's talk a little bit about how you can control your wishes and last intent from the ground, if you will, by writing up your specific plan.
Well, that kind of goes along with our trust, and when we sit down with that agreement with families and we kind of get them to write up what their last wishes are. Because not everybody's going to do the right thing at that particular time. People are looking at the money, and so that might stir them into a different direction than what your last wishes were.
Sure.
And so having that wrote down, or having what you want to happen with your money,
Right.
and we've had that happen.
Sure.
We've went over that before here,
Right. And that wasn't good, was
and
it?
it wasn't good, but we were able to get that situation taken care of, and so just kind of explaining that process to people, and kind of just making them aware that was mom's money, and you can do what you want, but I would recommend that you do the right thing with your mom's money.
Right. Do you think that there's somewhat of a karma or a stigma attached with not really honoring your loved one's last wishes? Do you think that that's something that a person can carry forward with them, almost like a burden?
Well, we're in a world nowadays where people don't have a concept like that.
Okay. Just checking.
Sometimes, some people do, and some people can move forward and did not do the right thing, and so, I would recommend that you kind of go into it very delicately, think about it. I'm not saying throw out the kitchen sink, but I would say just make sure that you're memorializing that person the way they would really want to be memorialized.